We're celebrating today with a high-calibre guest who surely is one of the outstanding business leaders in Australia. Andrew Bassat, co-founder and CEO of the dynamic online jobs portal Seek, which is also now in its 20th year and still expanding rapidly. There's every reason in the world to give Andrew Bassat a great welcome.
So we probably had three distinct phases of our business. The first, starting as Kerry said, in '97 was the startup phase, which is actually hard, but it was a lot of fun. The second phase was really the growth phase, which was relatively easy and a lot of fun. The third phase has been much tougher. It's been really us dealing with our own threats of disruption from players like LinkedIn and Indeed, facing some of the challenges that all organisations face when they've actually got something to lose and somebody's trying to take it from them very aggressively. I reckon if I had wanted to be promoted into the CEO role any other way than starting my own small company being bigger, I reckon I would have had about a 0% chance of getting there. So I've come to the role differently to normal. My professional background was very limited. I had 2.5 years as a lawyer. I had 2.5 years as a management consultant. I did learn strategy as a management consultant, which I do use in my job every day. From 2.5 years as a lawyer, I learnt that I was a terrible lawyer, so not too much came out of that. Us growing beyond the Australian shores and doing more was much more about growing because we could. The risks were very clear of doing business in China. At the time, except for mining companies, very few Australian companies of any sort had ever succeeded in China. There's many times we had setbacks that would have given us plenty of excuse to shut up shop and go home and say it's too hard. I think we lost about $50 million over 5 years. At any time in those 5 years, if we'd shut up the business, our share price would have spiked up. The shareholders were constantly telling us, this is stupid, get out of there. And I'm really glad, very glad we persevered. We just stuck the course. We had belief in what we were doing. We thought we were making progress on the business fundamentals. We're now in a position we've gone from a distant number 3 to now a clear number 1. The first principle is really a people-first approach. Every organisation says it, but it's absolutely been key for us. We started having massive gaps in our skills. We started against competitors that were much larger than us, had much better resource. The only way we're going to beat them is if our people are more passionate, talented, committed than the people there. So really a lot of what we've done has been about striving to have a culture where people are motivated to work where they want to remain, where they do their best. The second principle that I think we're quite extreme on relative to most organisations is I just focus on the fundamentals. I spend bugger all of my time. The only time people ask me the numbers before, I don't even know them. I spend very little of my time on the short-term numbers. All my focus is on what the business looks like in 5 years. It really is on the focus on the fundamentals, on building defensible, sustainable, competitive advantage, on winning battles rather than losing battles and a range of things. And I'm convinced that money's an output. If you do a good job with the fundamentals, you make money. If you focus on making money, you'll get the fundamentals wrong. And finally, doing hard things means number one, you're going to need to persevere, but number two, you might fall over. And if you start whacking people when they fall over, you start sacking CEOs as soon as they make a mistake, no one's going to take a risk and nothing hard's ever going to get done.
You suffered a serious hearing loss at the age of 5, and you've had that then for the rest of your life. True to say that that's had a big impact on you?
So what was the question? Not really. I think part of the reason I've done okay is I've tended to mostly ignore it rather than think about it too much. And I think if you find an excuse to not do something, or you find an impediment that's going to stop you doing something, well, then you don't do it. So I haven't really thought about it too much. To the extent that I have, I didn't hear anything in school. I used to sit at the back. And sometimes I don't do particularly well. I said, yeah, sit at the back and muck around a bit. But you just learn to figure stuff out yourself. So the one thing is I'm probably more confident than most people that if I've thought about something deeply and I'm confident that something's the way, even if everyone tells me that's not the way, I'm happy to back myself. It's perhaps the only thing that I've got out of it that in retrospect.
Where does this kind of entrepreneurial streak come from? What was it? Was it boredom with what you were doing? What was it?
Look, I probably think it is. I do think it is. I think for some, it's just a natural thing. It's not that I've spent hundreds of hours worrying about all the things that can go wrong and I'm just ignoring them. Just you tend to have a personality that focuses more on the upside of something working than the downside. And, I reckon I've stuffed more things up than probably everyone in this room, and I'm okay with it. And I think when you stuff things up and you realise you're still alive, you can get up again and stuff things up again. Yeah. It probably helps you to support that taking risk isn't so bad. It's okay. You learn from them and do something else. As long as they're risks that aren't going to see you dead, you get another crack at it.
Andrew, thank you very much for your contribution today.
Thank you.